It is a beautiful Tuesday evening, August 26, 2025 at, let's see here, about 8:50 p.m. First we saw Iowa Interstate Railroad symbol freight BICB for Blue Island in this direction, Council Bluffs, Iowa in this direction. And I call it the All-American Freight Train because BICB has just about every type of freight car in its consist. He had well over 100 cars. He had a General Electric ES44AC diesel electric locomotive on the head end, and on the rear end it appeared to be a General Electric diesel distributed power unit ES44AC. Diesel electric locomotive. The single track line was the main line of the Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific. And now in this direction, looking west, only used by Iowa Interstate Freights and CSX Transportation freight trains. In this direction, Rock Island line Metro Rock Island line commuter trains also use the line between Joliet, Illinois here and LaSalle Street Station, Chicago. Looking in this direction, these first two tracks are the BNSF Railway Chillicothe Subdivision, originally the main line of the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe Railway between Chicago and California, now also known as the BNSF Railway Southern Transcon. The next two tracks are the Union Pacific Railroad Joliet Subdivision in this direction. In this direction it becomes the Canadian National Railway Joliet Subdivision, originally the main line of the Gulf Mobile, Ohio Railway between Chicago and St. Louis. We're looking at former UD Tower for Union Depot, a little bit about that soon. And here's the upper level of Joliet Union Station, a little bit about that in a minute or two. Oh, and then we saw a westbound BNSF Railway local freight with 3 Electromotive Division General Motors Corporation LaGrange, Illinois plant where my career was based on the head end, and an Electromotive Division General Motors Corporation LaGrange, Illinois plant diesel electric locomotive on the rear end. And take a note of this unique crossing, diamond crossing, known as an OWLS diamond crossing. All 4 tracks stands for one way, low speed. A little bit about that in a minute. And let's go tell you some more information here. This has been one freight train after another since I got here about 3 p.m. today. Mostly BNSF Railway intermodal trains. Population of Joliet here is 150,362. Joliet Union Station right here was opened 1912, closed 2014. It's owned by the city of Joliet. This level is operated as a banquet hall. This is the upper level. There is a street level. The architecture is Beaux Arts style. Architect was Jarvis Hunt, who also designed Kansas City Union Station. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1978 in recognition of its architecture. And UD Tower, Union Depot, was built in 1913. It's now Joliet Railroad Museum. Open 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Now a little bit about OWLS diamond crossings. Give me 1 second here. One-way low-speed diamond frogs are used in their namesake diamonds, often referred to as OWLS one-way low-speed diamonds. These types of frogs are analogous to jump frogs in turnouts. The higher traffic line, that would be the Union Pacific Railroad and the BNSF Railway lines, cross the diamond on a normal rail surface in tread-bearing mode, and the lower traffic line, that would be the single track line that we saw the Iowa Interstate freight on, they crossed over the higher traffic lines in flange bearing mode. Did you notice the flanges actually had to go over the rails of the Union Pacific Railroad and the BNSF Railway? Because there is no flangeway gap to cross on the higher traffic lines, vehicles using these lines can cross the diamonds at the maximum speed allowed by the track design. Because the lower traffic line is in a situation where gauge restraint is reduced, and because it has to cross over the flangeway gap for the higher traffic lines, vehicles using this line, such as the Iowa Interstate freight we just saw, are limited to speeds at or below 10 miles per hour. OWLS diamonds are commonly used where a rail line with very little traffic operating on low speed crosses a rail line with considerably more traffic operating at higher speeds. The secondary run flange bearing surface uses explosion hardened manganese castings. The one-way low-speed crossing is used at locations where the traffic on the secondary track has low tonnage, speeds not exceeding 10 miles per hour, and very few trains. That line only has a couple Iowa Interstate freights and a couple CSX transportation freights. The high impacts associated with wheels jumping the flangeway gaps on conventional crossings are significantly reduced with the OWLS crossing by the use of flange-bearing ramps on the secondary track. So actually, I think the flanges of the Iowa Interstate freight weren't actually contacting the rails of the Union Pacific Railroad and the BNSF Railway. They were slightly higher than those rails. This allows the wheel flange to run over the top of the main line, which eliminates the flangeway gaps on the mainline track. The elimination of flangeway gaps and joints provides for a continuous running surface on the mainline tracks, allowing trains to run without speed restrictions. Impact reduction significantly reduces maintenance compared to conventional crossings. The mainline run uses high-strength head-hardened rail. The secondary run flange-bearing surface uses explosion-hardened manganese castings. Again, it's a beautiful Tuesday evening, August 26, 2025. Now exactly 9 p.m. Tuesday, August 26, 2025, Joliet, Illinois, over and out.